I look like a pole dancer.
That's why I married you.
This is the tale of one of Coronation Street's most unforgettable characters.
Becky is the classic tart with a heart.
She started out as a petty criminal.
What are you doing here?
Bit of bother with some shoplifting.
People hated her. I remember people saying, "Oh, that Becky, she's awful."
But went on to steal the hearts of the nation.
We see what she is and what she does and what she's created. She's created a monster.
You do go home absolutely shattered when you've been fighting with Catherine.
As millions wonder whether she's gone for good, it's time to bid farewell to Becky Mcdonald.
It's an extremely physical relationship.
And celebrate the highs. I'm blaming love!
I think she's a bit special.
And the lows.
I'm never gonna have a baby, Ben.
Of a Corrie icon.
Coronation Street has changed my life. Yeah, it's been really emotional.
Last door to the bar, please, ladies and gents. I'm buttering cops. December 2011, and at ITV Studios in Manchester, Catherine Kelly is getting ready to hang up the hooped earrings of Becky Mcdonald after 6 years. It's been a long journey to the Rovers and beyond for the Barnsley-born daughter of an Irish father and a Yorkshire mother. And Coronation Street was always a firm family favourite.
At 7:30, my mum would turn up the volume on the Coronation Street theme tune. And we would all come running down the stairs like the opening of The Simpsons and plonk ourselves on there, and that was our kind of treat. So, yeah, it was always something that I fancied being a part of.
As a young actress, Catherine appeared in several amateur dramatic productions.
Behold the world beneath you. See the mist of time lift from your eyes.
Before going on to perform with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Catherine first hit our TV screens in Last of the Summer Wine.
Flower arranging. It's said in this book, one of the major weapons in the armoury of the perfect homemaker is a gift for flower arranging.
But her big break would come when Corrie bosses started looking for a new girl to hit the street.
We wanted to try a character who was kind of right at the bottom of the pecking order, you know, almost in the gutter, but not quite. Someone who was, to use a delightful phrase, dog rough.
Cast as lowlife Becky Granger,
Kelly? Becky!
Catherine made her first appearance on the 5th of February 2006.
It was a scene with Kelly and Lloyd in the police station. How apt.
What are you doing here?
Bit of bother with some shoplifting, but it were a misunderstanding, really. Craig Charles was the only person that I was nervous about meeting because me and my brothers were obsessed with Red Dwarf.
You'll never see her or your money again.
She came in as a foil for Kelly and Lloyd, and she'd been in prison with Kelly, and she came to cause a bit of trouble.
Becky was a very unsympathetic character.
People hated her. I remember people saying, "Oh, that Becky, she's awful." And I remember the very famous scene that you always see of her just like burning Kelly's top.
Becky has a default setting, for sure, which is that of a caged animal.
She came from a terrible background.
My mum were a shoplifter. A good one, mind. So the only reason that she can express herself is basically to lash out and usually fight. And scream. And kick things. She's like a little toddler that just has a tantrum.
You like it, women, do you? Well, try it, me, and see what you get.
She's not a great diplomat. She wouldn't have made a politician.
A man could die of starvation in here.
Or something else.
If anybody puts him down, she's there. She's like a Rottweiler.
Hey! Caricatona! Who do you think you're talking to?
He can deal with it. He deals with it in his way, but she wants to deal with it in a sort of Tarantino sort of way.
Igor, I'll smash your face in and out!
I've had enough of you today.
There is no time to rest on your laurels when you have a fight with Catherine. Hiya, sis. You've got to be in the moment completely and get ready to run, basically. You do go home absolutely shattered when you've been fighting with Catherine.
When you've got a character who's in that situation, who's initially very unsympathetic and really very hard on the outside, you can send that character on a really interesting journey. And I think if you do that, you have to start to integrate them with characters who are absolutely at the heart of the show.
I thought it were you. I'd recognise that anorak anywhere.
She recognised something in Becky, someone who needed some help and a bit of guidance and a bit of mothering. So Hayley very quickly took her under her wing. I've told Becky the good news.
Good news.
Oh, we're going to be a great team, us. I'm not afraid of hard work, and I will never let you down, I promise.
Oh, that's good news.
When Becky landed a job in Roy's Rolls, a classic Corrie coupling was born.
They were like the odd couple at first.
He's an old geezer, she's a young girl.
Where's last ticket?
There. Cute. She's a bit off the rails and he's a bit... I don't know where he is. But they're both very, very singular people.
And the packet, please.
God, don't you trust me or something?
They were such an unusual pairing and it worked so well. Chalk and cheese, the odd couple, the ultimate odd couple.
Imagine being dead, though. I mean, you can't, can you? It's like trying to imagine nothing. Have you ever tried that? Don't work. Because even when you try and imagine nothing, that is something.
Not very often do you see a young girl and an older man have such a beautiful platonic relationship and they're not blood related in any way.
Right.
Yes.
That's not cannabis, is it?
No.
Oh.
Essentially, what they held together with is a sort of mutual dependency. It made him human, and it made her a bit less sort of crazy.
Do you know what, Roy? Somehow, I think we're both looking for exactly the same thing.
They're very soulful. I mean, I think they die for each other.
Stop wearing on and tell me what you are. What are you?
Peach.
And if it wasn't Becky's friendship with Roy that was turning heads, it was her luminous orange heels and pink bras.
Becky's style is completely bonkers.
Catherine's quite a classy girl. She knows how to dress, but Becky, on the other hand, she doesn't know how to dress.
What can I get you?
Pint, please.
Tracy describes Becky as a Russian prostitute.
I look like a pole dancer.
That's why I married you.
At the forefront of Becky's style would always be the earrings.
The velour tracksuit. I love the fact she wears these gold rings on each finger. That's a proper lovely look, that.
So put that in your pipes and smoke it.
Catherine does go out and buy a lot of Becky's wardrobe.
We kind of work together very closely. It's nice that she wants to be so involved.
It's always quite exciting to see how she's going to come out of her dressing room.
I suppose our inspiration probably comes from the indoor market in the Arndale, let's put it like that.
Respect.
In her time on the street, this cider-swigging style icon has had her fair share of brief encounters. But it wasn't long before she caught the eye of beefy builder Jason Grimshaw.
She was so happy at that point, and I loved that scene where she really snogs him. Come here, handsome.
She's a good kisser. I shouldn't really say that, but she is a really good kisser.
She's like straight in there. She will go for it. So the men, they need to be warned.
After a whirlwind romance, Becky and Jason built a love nest together.
Say hello to clean, fresh, Magnolia.
But Jason soon flew,
Anyone ever told you you're a waste of paint?
leading to a right ruckus in the Rovers.
It said Becky goes for Jason. You know, she was very upset about him leaving her for Sarah.
Did you ever feel anything from me? Or was I just keeping the bed warm till Sarah called?
And I said to the director, Alan, what do you think? Do you think there's any way of me getting over that bar to throttle Jason? And he said, I don't know, but we will make it happen. And my leg was black with bruises because we had to do it about 7 times. Come on! And then she went on this, call it the rampage. Smashing shops. Flashing her boobs at passers-by. Then Steve found her. Way up, sunshine. What's your game? You trying to Copperfield? And then he took her to Roy, and she cried in Roy's arms.
You're the only decent man on the planet. Do you know that, Roy? You're the man, Roy.
Come back after the break. When Becky finds love...
Woo!
Oh, hey!
Suffers devastating loss. And goes head-to-head with the Queen of Mean, Tracy Barlow.
Smashing up the Barlows was exhausting.
Talk to the sledgehammer.
Becky Granger quickly made a huge impact on Coronation Street, and it wasn't long before she landed a job behind the bar of the Rovers.
I couldn't believe it when they told me that I was going to be the 50th barmaid.
Well, hello.
Hi, Ken.
You don't get much luckier than that.
We have a wide selection of wines and spirits and some of the finest ales in England.
Her style might not have been as traditional as the great barmaids of Weatherfield past.
Becky was an absolutely useless barmaid.
Right then, who's thirsty?
The only decent thing she did as a barmaid was to wear ridiculous, revealing clothing.
I do believe this one is going to be an all-nighter.
Apart from that, she was useless.
Gorgeous.
And when Becky wasn't pulling pints, she was pulling the boss.
Having put Becky together with Roy and Hayley, the next major decision was to put her together with Steve Mcdonald.
Drunk at bunker with Steve Mcdonald. Not about to wallow it to ills.
As soon as I saw Catherine working, I knew that she had, you know, there was a definite spark there.
Yeah, I wouldn't make a spy me, you know. Never mind truth drugs. Inject me with 6 pints of snake bite and I spill my guts. Literally, sometimes.
Steve anchored Becky absolutely at the heart of the show. And she gave Steve something that he needs, which is that very strong woman that kind of keeps him constantly wrong-footed.
Come on, Grandad, let's get some shakes. They call me Stacey. That's not my name.
There is much more chemistry between Becky and Steve than Steve and Tracy. With Steve, it's kind of forced with Tracy, but Becky and Steve seem to have that sexual chemistry and they bounced off each other and literally.
It's an extremely physical relationship.
I don't usually do this sober.
What, never? I think after living on the streets, she didn't really say no to a lot of things.
I'll make an exception for you.
Huh?
We knew we'd got this scene where Becky and Steve go upstairs for a bit of private time.
Sorry. What do you think you're doing?
And it's said in the script that Kieran walks in and they're both naked, but Steve manages to cover Becky up just in time with pots and pans.
I'm sorry, I was looking for the road.
Well, it's not in here.
Well, I can see that.
Yeah, we were going to do it naked.
There is no way that every single take Simon would get them pots and pans in the right place at the right time.
Which, of course, she's extremely right.
So the best thing we could come up with in that time was that they were a chef and a maid.
My heart's going 15 to the dozen here. I'm having palpitations.
Becky would become Mrs. McDonald III, and the date was set for Friday the 13th of March 2009.
Will you marry me?
You're a flaming well.
It would be a wedding to remember. Unless you were the bride.
I do remember getting the scripts and thinking, oh, Becky's drunk again.
Well, the big memory of the wedding for me was her on the roof.
Singing We Are the Champions.
We are the champions!
It was really uplifting, that, and you felt her happiness.
Numero uno!
Becky would never have dreamed that she'd get married in a million years, especially to a man like Steve.
I'm flaming loved!
To me, that was Becky's peak and height.
But by the time Becky was ready to walk down the aisle, the bride-to-be was bladdered.
The wedding itself was typically disastrous.
It is some of the greatest drunk acting that I have ever seen in my life.
Are you hammered?
Celebrating. The registrar refused to marry the boozy bride. But Steve and Becky would get hitched just a few months later. This time, it was a slightly more sober affair.
If this is a dream, don't wake me up.
And it came to the moment where the vicar said, "You may kiss the bride." It wasn't a romantic kiss, it wasn't a peck on the cheek. It was a full-on snog.
You may kiss the bride.
Thank you.
Woo!
Oh, hey!
I think a really big turning point for Becky as that character evolved on screen was to see a more vulnerable and a more caring side to the character, that she wasn't just hard as nails, that actually there was a heart inside her.
I'm totally pregnant.
She confessed that she was pregnant.
It's official. I'm 9 weeks gone and I'm due in August.
And that to me was such a wonderful time for Becky. She was married, she'd got everything to look forward to. And then it all came crashing down.
Becky would suffer 2 miscarriages and be told she could never have children.
I think the beginning of the end for Steve and Becky was the very sad fact that she couldn't give them a child.
I think that really knocked her confidence in who she was and what she could give to this marriage and what she could be.
One of the nicest scenes, really, with Becky was the one where she said, "I'll never have a baby, Ben."
Most women would have legged it straight to the nearest hospital instead of to the nearest alehouse.
And most women take their folic acid and coo over bugaboo prams and pick sensible names like Jessie and Ben.
I think that really summed it up for Becky, that dawning of realisation.
And not most women. I'm never gonna have a baby, Ben.
That failure of, "I'll never have a baby, Ben." I don't know, I just thought that was so beautifully put.
Her mum was a terrible role model and a terrible mother by all accounts, and she didn't see her half-sister for years on end. So I think for Becky it was incredibly important to be able to add a child that she could call her own, even if that child was only adopted, into that family unit.
So when Max came along, this really was Last Chance Saloon.
Come and say hello to your Auntie Becky.
It was a moving storyline that would see Becky attempt to adopt Max at all costs.
Are you Max?
No.
It would have been such a happy ending, wouldn't it? You know, for her to have been given this little boy and give him everything that she never had.
I love him. I love him so much that it hurts.
And the moment when he was taken away from her, I mean, it was just heart-wrenching.
Just don't take him away from me, please.
It's sort of life coming along and kicking her in the teeth and her being completely vulnerable.
Come here, Becky. Come on.
Don't
Becky,
touch me! I don't need it.
Come here.
Through all this, no matter what she's done, we care about her. We probably care about her as much as we've ever cared about any character that's ever been in Coronation Street.
You trying to take my daughter away from me?
Unfortunately for Becky and Steve, a jailbird was set to rock up and ruin their relationship.
Becky versus Tracy's been one of the great, fights. It's been like monsters versus aliens, hasn't it?
At least my eggs are in perfect working order.
The stage was set for one of Coronation Street's most destructive scenes.
Smashing up the Barlows was exhausting. It's very hard to look like you're breaking something.
Talk to the sledgehammer.
I held that sledgehammer, it was really heavy, and she's swinging it around. Very impressive.
Get out! Leave us!
I've got Steve Mcdonald, Tracy Barlow, Deirdre Barlow and Ken Barlow in a room.
Are we all feeling the fear?
Just don't go wrong, whatever you do.
Whatever!
There ain't no insurance payout in the world can cover these 4 icons. Do you know what I'm saying?
By the joining of hands...
Tracy went on to win Steve.
I therefore proclaim that you are husband and wife.
But in her final scenes, we've witnessed Becky clear her name.
She'd already lost the baby, Steve. Check the dates. Your shiny new wife's a filthy liar.
Meet a new man.
I love you.
And fly off first class into the sunset.
Got no regrets then?
Regrets are for people what stop on the ground. We're heading for the stars.
After 6 eventful years, the time has come for Coronation Street fans and Catherine Kelly's friends and colleagues to bid a fond farewell to Becky.
You came into this show and you just became a legend within what seemed like weeks. And it's very, very rare to work with someone as talented and as special as you are.
I'm so chuffed for you that you're going to go off and do all these amazing things.
Good night, my love.
But I hate you also for leaving me there with no one to play with.
I wish you all the luck in the world.
I feel like I'm going to lose a part of me. So I wish you all the best. I can't wait to see you in other projects as well.
I'm going out to have myself a good time.
I think you are a bit special. I've said that before, and I mean it.
Just promise me you'll look after yourself.
I will. Coronation Street has changed my life. Meeting such wonderful people, people that are going to be my friends for life. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah, it's been really emotional. The journey has been fantastic. You couldn't write it, but they did.
Power hug.
Oh, we're going to miss Becky, aren't we? Now, toys are being thrown firmly out of the pram in that Biggest Loser house tonight as the partners are split into new teams. They're not happy, I can tell you that. It's at 9. Next, though, the exit list.